Hello everyone, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I hope all of you are doing good. This is the weekly market update live stream. And if you're new to my YouTube channel, please make sure to subscribe to it. Please make sure to like the live stream and turn on the notifications for the channel so that, whenever we upload any new video or whenever I start the live stream, you will be notified immediately. Also, if you're not following me on Twitter, 𝗟𝘍𝗶𝗵𝘁𝘀, this is my Twitter handle. Please make sure to follow this Twitter handle as well. I regularly post market updates and sometimes calls also over my Twitter account. And finally, if you would like to receive more organized updates and calls, you can always join in the Discord server. The link you can find in the description of this video. Another important announcement for you guys, our Black Friday sale is nearing its end. Only 24 hours till the Black Friday sale ends. And if for some reason you were not able to join the Discord server, if for some reason you could not afford the membership, then you can do so right now, because all of the subscriptions, they are available now at a 50% discount. You can see that the monthly subscription now is available only at $32. The quarterly subscription is available only for $99. Same is the case with the yearly and the lifetime subscription also. And if you would like to join the mentorship program, because I know that a lot many people are actually interested in the mentorship program also, but because of sometimes the pricing issue or because of some other reasons, they were not able to join the mentorship program. You can see that all of these services we offer in the mentorship program. You can join the mentorship program. It's a lifetime program. All of these services, all of these things are available for the lifetime. We have an excellent rating of the course. There are 500 plus people who have already registered for this course, who are already a part of this course, and you can join the Discord server. You can talk to the other learners, you can talk to the other people who are a part of the mentorship program. You can talk to them and get an honest opinion about what exactly the mentorship program is like. Again, it's a lifetime program. You would have access to all of the resources for lifetime live lectures. You can schedule as many one-on-one sessions with me as you want, as you wish to, because you can see that, if you would normally like to schedule a one-on-one session with me, it would normally cost you $150 for a 1 hour or 45-minute session. But with the mentorship program, you can basically have access to all the live lectures, all the previous recordings, all the indicators, PDFs, resources, and everything for lifetime. And then you can schedule as many calls with me as you want. And the best part is that the mentorship program, it's now available at a 50% discount. So I would highly encourage all of you to take a look at this. And we have also uploaded the course outline as well. You can see that a detailed course outline has also been uploaded, all of these lectures. So we have basically 300 plus hours of training in this mentorship program. Almost 70 plus hours of training has already been done, and there will be almost 230 plus hours of training more that would be included in the mentorship program. So please make sure to check out the website 𝗨𝗃𝗀𝗏𝑜𝑟𝑔. This is the link of the website. I normally do not promote the mentorship program. I normally don't do this, but I thought it would be a good idea, because most of you may not have any idea about these Black Friday sales. So we have a 50% discount for the subscriptions. We have a 50% discount available on the mentorship program as well. So 24 hours before this sale ends, yeah, so make sure to book your spot. All right. Now let's start the live stream. And by the way, if you guys have any questions, please make sure to drop in the chat box. Ken is asking, can you pay in separate payments? I'm not exactly sure about this part. You can basically join the Discord server, click the link in the description of this video, join the Discord server, and open a support ticket, and the support staff, they would help you in this regard. So uh, let's start with the market update part. The first chart that we are looking at is the Bitcoin dominance chart. So you can see that Bitcoin dominance has given 4H close. In fact, 2 to 3 4H closes above this resistance level. You can see that this is a nice resistance level. Price was moving in this range for the past 1.5 months, for the past 45 days or so. You can see that, and now finally we have a 4H close, not just one, but at least three 4H closes above this resistance level, meaning that at least on the 4-hour time frame chart, price has flipped this resistance into support, and it's not a good thing for altcoins. There are going to be several shorting opportunities. And this is something that I mentioned in my morning update also, that if you're looking to build short positions on most of these big market cap coins, then this could be a nice opportunity. And first of all, I completely understand this fact that market has been very difficult to trade, as compared to how it was for the past, I would say, 1 or 2 years. The main reason is because we are simply just moving in this range, and scalpers, they usually profit in these kind of situations. You can easily take a long position on Bitcoin around 85, 86,000. You can easily take a short around 92, 93,000. So for scalpers, this is the perfect environment, right? But for the swing traders, this is not an ideal case situation. Okay, for the swing traders, it's a very difficult situation because they cannot build the long-term positions. And I would say 90% traders out there, they are swing traders. A very small number of people actually, do scalping, because scalping, it's not just difficult, but it's highly, difficult to be profitable while you are scalping. Okay, so you have to keep an eye on the position size. You have to keep track of the risk to reward ratio. You have to keep track of the commissions and everything. So it's not easy to do scalping, and for that reason, most of the people out there, they are into swing trading, and this is not an ideal case scenario for the swing traders. They are finding it difficult to trade. Again, as I mentioned to you, it's mainly because price has been constantly moving in this range, which we will be talking about later on. But the important part is that the kind of situation that we are facing right now, you should be more focused on, first of all, shit coins. Okay, so if you plan to take a long position or a short position, for example, we took a short position, we took a long position on Epic. Okay, this was a long position on Epic. It went up almost 20%. And by the way, for those of you who are a part of the Discord server, you would know about this position. I shared this long trade almost 2 days ago. It went up almost 20%. We closed 50-60% of the position. Almost 40% of the position is still open. And yeah, you can see that price had a nice move towards upside, even though the rest of the market was going down. But still, Epic made a nice move. Epic made an epic move. The next short position that we opened yesterday was on Gun USDT. Again, a similar kind of a trade. You can see that price had a break below this support level, then 1-day 12-period exponential moving average. So overall, it looked like a nice short trade. But again, the same thing. And by the way, for those of you who are in this short trade, make sure to take some profits off your short position. Price is down almost 12 to 13% already. And for now, price is sitting at the previous month's point of control. Yeah, November's point of control price is sitting at. Usually the previous month's point of controls, they act as nice support and resistance levels. And here you can see that because price is sitting at the previous month's point of control. So, that's why it's going up a little bit. And that's why it may not really be a good idea to, not close or not take profits off your position. Just keep almost 40 to 50% of the position open, take profits of the rest of the position. But again, the reason why I gave you two different examples is because Epic was a long trade, Gun was a short trade. And again, market has been constantly moving in this range. So Epic or Gun, they had nothing to do with what was happening on the Bitcoin dominance chart, because we know that if price, and this is especially true for the top gainers. Okay, if you're planning to take a long trade, for example, just this morning, I was planning to take a long trade on ACT. This one went up. I was planning to take this long trade, but as soon as the 1 hour close happened, price already went up, immediately went up almost 9%. I'm waiting for the retest at this level, and that's when I'm going to take a long position on ACT, most likely. And then I was planning to take a long position on LYN also, but this one did not give the close. And for that reason, I'm not planning this long position anymore. But the point here is that, the kind of market situation that we have right now, you should be more focused on shit coins, because they move in their own frequency, they move in their own lane. They don't really care about what's happening in the outside world. Most of these coins, they mainly pump or dump because of some pump and dump thing going on, because some big holder probably they decided to dump their whole bag, or probably there was some news in the market. And most of these shitcoins, they have usually a small market cap in comparison to the rest of the market, and that's why they usually just have their own things going on. And that's why it is relatively easy to trade these coins, although there is always going to be a significant risk of manipulation, especially when you are trading only on the basis of technical analysis. For example, support, resistance, trend lines, chart patterns. Trend lines, chart patterns, they may not really work on these charts. Support and resistance, it definitely works to some extent, but there are always fake outs happening. So overall, the point that I'm trying to make here is that, in these kind of market situations, you should be more focused on trading shitcoins, and especially building long positions on shitcoins. Another shitcoin that I was planning to take a long position on, and I did update this in my channel as well in Discord, that if you wish to take a long position on 𝗖𝗿𝘆𝑁T, you can do so. And by the way, when I gave this update, 𝗖𝗿𝘆𝑁T was probably trading somewhere around here. You can see that the reason why I did not enter into this long trade, and I did mention this in my channel also, that price has already retested the previous all-time high. And by the way, this looked like a very, very good trade. I still cannot believe that we completely missed this long trade, but you can see that price had a break above the previous all-time high. Back on 14th of December, you can see that price tried to break above the previous all-time high, but there was no 4H close. But this time we had one 4H close, then the second 4H close, then price perfectly retested the previous all-time high. And this is usually the most high probability trade. And you can see that price is up almost 17% already. Again, the reason I did not take the long trade here as soon as I looked at the chart was simply because the stop loss, even if I would place the stop loss below the support, it's going to be an 18 to 19% stop loss. Now, the stop loss percentage never really matters. This is a very important thing. You can have a 60% stop loss, or you could have, let's say, a 14% or 1% stop loss. And ideally speaking, you should be losing the same value. You should be losing the same amount of money. But because most of the people, they do not understand this very simple risk management fact, they have the same position size for every single trade. And that is where you need to understand the risk management properly, that your position size changes as per your stop loss value. So for example, if you have a 50% stop loss on a trade, your your position size in that trade is going to be significantly small in comparison to a trade in which you have, let's say, a 1% stop loss, or a 2% stop loss. So this is a very important, very simple fact related to risk management, that the actual stop loss percentage, it's not something that matters. One thing that matters is your position sizing. So because most of the people out there, because most of the people even in my Discord server also, they do not understand this very simple fact, and as a result of it, I decided not to take a long position on it, because I knew that if I would give a long trade with an 18 to 19% stop loss, people would usually go with the same position size that they normally go with if the stop loss, let's say, is at 8%, 7%. And that's when, if the stop loss gets hit, people would be losing more money in comparison to, like, how much they usually lose. And this point has been raised quite a few times in different conversations also, that your position size should always be different. It's quite simple. We have given a proper guide on this as well. We have published a proper PDF on this as well, that you can go on Google, write crypto position size calculator, just open any website, enter your entry point, enter your stop loss, enter the amount that you would like to risk, the percentage that you would like to risk of your portfolio, 1%, 2%, 3%, enter your total portfolio value. These are the only four things that you would need: your entry point, your stop loss, your total portfolio value. Even if it's $100, $1,000, $100,000, just enter it in that field. And then finally, you would need to know what percentage you are willing to risk: 1%, 2%, 3%. And as per that risk, your position size would automatically be calculated. So this, it's quite simple. You guys can do it in Excel also. You guys can manually also do it, but manually, if you would try to do it, it's going to be a little bit tough for you, especially if you do not have any knowledge about mathematics. So it's very simple. All you have to do is just find an online crypto position size calculator, and use it to properly manage your position size. If you would risk the same percentage every single time, for example, if you are risking 2% in every single trade, that is when even if the stop loss percentage is 40%, 50%, 60%, 70%, you would basically be losing the same amount. The only benefit of using a smaller stop loss percentage usually is that you would have to stay for a short period in that trade. You would immediately get the result of that trade, or you would not really have to stay in that trade for a longer period. But again, the main thing which matters here is that your stop loss, it should never really be an arbitrary value. You should never really set a small stop loss just because you are telling yourself that, no, I don't really want to lose a huge amount. That's why I'm probably going to set my stop loss slightly above this level, because you are basically setting your stop loss right at the support, and price can always go back down and give a retest at the support. Ideally speaking, you should be setting your stop loss slightly below or slightly under this support level. This is very important, but we will be talking about this in probably in a series, risk management series. If you guys need to know more about this, you can let me know. If you guys have any confusion on this, you can just let me know. But going back to the main point that I was trying to make here is that you should be more focused on these shit coins, these coins that are in the top gainers list or the top losers list, because these are the coins, okay, uh, that are most likely going to have their own things going on. So even if Bitcoin dominance is going up, even if price is going up, bouncing at the support on the Bitcoin dominance chart, even if price on the Bitcoin chart is going down, these coins, they are not really going to be impacted by these coins. They're not really going to be affected by what's happening out there in the market. And that could be something which may possibly go in your favor also, or this could be something which may actually go against you as well, okay? Because sometimes what happens is that you are trading these shit coins, and these are not really shit coins, especially considering that these coins are already listed on these mainstream tier 1 exchanges. The only reason why I'm calling them shit coins is because they have these are the mid market cap or low market cap coins. They have small market cap in comparison to most of these other big market cap coins. But again, the point that I'm trying to make here is that this could simply just go against you as well. For example, let's just imagine that Bitcoin is going up and you decided to take a long position on one of these top gainers. And what would normally happen in these kind of situations is that price on this top gainer would start dumping. If you maybe you just took a wrong position, maybe you were a little bit unlucky, and you entered right at the top. Maybe you simply just took a long position thinking that you were taking a long at the reclaim of a resistance level, but it was actually a resistance level, not a reclaim of resistance level. So there could be a set of different things happening here. The point here is that you may actually end up losing in that trade even if the rest of the market is going up. So this is the main benefit or the drawback of trading these shit coins. But the best part that I like about, I should not really be calling these shit coins, these coins as shit coins. I should not really be labeling them as shit coins. I should really be using the word top gainers or top losers. But the point is that the main benefit of trading these coins is that you would get the results immediately. It's not like you would have to stay in that trade for a longer period. And this is exactly why I normally avoid trading the coins that only have, let's say, or that only had, let's say, a 2%, 1% move during the last 24 hours. I usually always try to trade the coins that at least had a, more than 10% move in either direction during the last 24 hours. It could be towards upside, it could be towards downside, but they need to at least have made a 10% upside or 10% downside move during the last 24 hours. And only then, in my opinion, that coin is going to be feasible for you to trade. Otherwise, you would simply just remain stuck in a trade. You would simply just remain stuck in a coin, that would just continue to consolidate in the very same manner. So, if you take a look at the Bitcoin dominance chart, this is a Bitcoin dominance chart. You can see that Bitcoin dominance right now, it's sitting at support. Although, price on the Bitcoin dominance chart is going down, but still its support. We had 3 or 4 closes above this higher time frame level, which means that at least on the 4-hour time frame chart, the reclaim of this level has already happened. But if you take a look at the daily time frame chart, and this is exactly what I mentioned in my update also, that in order to receive further confirmation, in order to have, if a much better confirmation, what you can basically do is, because you see, we have to start looking for the short trades. And by the way, this is exactly the topic of the live stream also, that what's happening with this $84,000 support. Why exactly price just continues to bounce at this level, and what exactly is happening with this $93,000 level. We will be talking about this part later on. Please make sure to watch this live stream till the end. This is going to be a really interesting live stream, because we have few very important things to discuss. So Bitcoin dominance. So Bitcoin dominance, until and unless it gives you a daily close above this resistance level, you cannot comfortably start taking short positions on most of these big market cap coins. I did mention this in my update also, that if we get to see a daily close above this resistance level, you can actually start building short positions on most of these big market cap coins. I'm talking about the coins like Ethereum. I'm talking about the coins like Solana. You can see that I was planning to take a short position on Ethereum this morning, but the reason why I did not execute this position, two reasons actually. First one, because Ethereum has continued to bounce at this level. Previously Ethereum used to give very clean moves at this level. You can see that whenever we had a daily close below this level in the past, price always had a major move towards downside, at least towards 2100. But in this situation, we had this first daily close below this level, price gave a fake out and quickly went back up. Then another fake out below another fake out below the support, and price quickly went back up. Another fake out. So this region has proved to be a bottom on the chart for Ethereum. And again, the important part is that you need to have a daily close. And same is the case with Solana also. People are saying that, we should be building a short position on Solana. No, you need to be mindful of the fact that Solana is sitting exactly at the support. So if you try to build a short position here, you would essentially be taking a short position exactly at the bottom, right? And I don't really want you guys to be, to get caught up in a situation where you are shorting something while it's sitting right at the support. And yes, if Bitcoin dominance gives you a daily close above this resistance level, then definitely, I mean, ideally speaking, it's not really a good idea. Ideally speaking, it may be actually a very stupid idea to short something while it's sitting at support. But you would be much more comfortable building these short positions. At least I would be very comfortable building a short position on Ethereum, even if price has bounced at this level in the past, because you see, the actual correlation matters a lot. Because in the past, whenever Ethereum bounced at these levels, it mainly happened because Bitcoin dominance was giving a retest at the resistance. Now we know that whenever Bitcoin dominance gives you a retest at the resistance, you should normally be focusing on building long positions and not short positions. So, the context matters a lot. It's not just enough to look at one chart. It's also really important to look at all of these other correlated charts also. And at the same time, you can see that Bitcoin has been constantly bouncing at this $85,000, $84,000 price level. And at the same time, USDT dominance is also sitting at an important resistance level. So, you cannot actually blame the price action on Ethereum's chart. You should actually be looking, on some of these other correlated charts to make, make a sort of narrative using which you are able to take the best possible positions. The narrative here, it's very simple. It's not just about the individual charts. You have to at least take a look at 2 or 3 other charts like Bitcoin dominance, like Bitcoin, like a few other charts like USDT dominance. And again, as I mentioned, that I completely agree with the fact that the market situation has been a little bit tricky to build positions, especially for the swing traders, again, because we are constantly moving in this range. There is no clear direction as to where exactly the market is headed towards. The next 24 hours, in my opinion, okay, this is the most important part. The next 24 hours, in my opinion, are going to be really, really important. And I would tell you exactly why. In the next 24 hours, we may actually see, we could actually see Bitcoin breaking below this $85,000 range and actually going all the way down to $75,000, $74,000. If you guys have any knowledge of what's happening, if you guys know what exactly is going to happen in the next 24 hours, please make sure to let me know in the chat box. But next 24 hours for Bitcoin are going to be really important. Anyone has got any idea as to what exactly will be happening in the next 24 hours? If yes, then please make sure to let me know in the chat box. So going back to the Bitcoin dominance chart, we have established the fact that, we need to have at least a daily close above this resistance level, and only then we can start looking for short positions. Because right now on most of these major market cap coins, we just cannot blindly start doing that because Bitcoin has been constantly bouncing at this floor price, at this support around 85,000, 84,000. Solana is sitting at a long, uh, at a long-term support. This is a chart for Solana. You can see that it has been sitting above this level since 5th of March 2024. So price has been constantly bouncing at this level since 5th of March 2024. So it may not really be a very good idea to build a short position while something is sitting at support. Same is the case with Ethereum also. This may look like Ethereum is breaking below its higher time frame support level, but I would actually recommend to you that you move to the higher time frame charts like 3-day or the weekly time frame chart and use these charts to see where exactly Ethereum is headed towards, because apparently Ethereum has not given a weekly close below this level. So only if it gives you a weekly close below the support, just like it did back on 29th of July 2024, you can see that, we had a weekly close below this level. Then you can, just wait. You can just take a breakout trade, or you can simply just wait for price to go back up and give a retest at this resistance, at this weekly resistance. And that's when you can start building a short position on Ethereum. Again, I would not really recommend building short positions on the mid market cap coins. I'm telling you this from my personal experience that building short positions right now on these mid market cap coins, with small market cap coins, like the ones that have a market cap in the range of, I would say, 20 million to 50 million, or anything below 50 million, it's good. But if you are building a short position on most of these coins that have a market cap bigger than 50 million, then it's going to be extremely risky. The reason is because, you know I have been noticing this pattern for quite some time, and this is mainly happening because everything is moving in a range right now. Most of these coins, okay, they would be trading above this support level, and then suddenly they would give you a break below this higher time frame support. You would start taking the breakout trades, and then suddenly you would have this deviation move towards upside. You would try to build a breakout trade. It's not really going to work. It may work, it may not really work. Chances are that price would simply just consolidate. Price would simply just consolidate at this support. Then it would give you a small break below this level, not even enough for you to build a nice breakout short position. But as soon as you would enter into short positions, you would have an immediate move towards upside. So all these people who opened short positions at the breakout or opened at the retest, they are immediately going to regret it, because it's not really happening because of these coins itself or because of the structure on these coins itself. It's mainly happening because of the Bitcoin chart, which is constantly consolidating in this range. So two things I would definitely recommend to you that you keep an eye on. The first one is Bitcoin chart. Remember that Bitcoin is simply just moving in this range, 85,000, 84,000. That's support for Bitcoin. 93,000, 94,000, that is resistance for Bitcoin. So, you should start looking for, at least for as long as price is moving in this range. And I mean, this is really surprising. I was looking at the numbers, and, for the last 3 weeks, Bitcoin had lesser amount of volatility in comparison to Nvidia stock. Okay, can you guys even imagine this thing? Bitcoin has less volatility in comparison to Nvidia stock. It's not like Nvidia is more volatile, although it has been a little bit volatile in comparison to a few other stocks during the last 2 weeks, but it is mostly because Bitcoin is not volatile. It's not like Nvidia is more volatile, it's because Bitcoin is less volatile in comparison to any other thing available out there. And we know that, Bitcoin, it's highly volatile, but for the past few weeks, price has been constantly moving in this range. So, two things I would recommend to you. If you wish to open long positions, forget about the structure and all of those things on any of these individual charts. I'm talking about altcoins mainly. If Bitcoin goes back down to 84,000, 85,000, I don't really know for how long this range is going to play out. I don't exactly know for how long this particular strategy may work, because it's very simple. As soon as we start breaking out of this range, it's not really going to work out for you. But if price goes back down to 85,000, 84,000, that is when you can start looking for the long trades. It's very simple. But at the same time, you need to wait for Bitcoin dominance to reach a resistance level. Okay, for example, let's just say that Bitcoin dominance at this point in time, Bitcoin starts going back down to 85,000, 84,000, and then Bitcoin dominance gives you a fake out. Okay, this turns out to be a fake out, and Bitcoin dominance actually just gives you a deviation above this resistance, and closes its daily candle somewhere around here. That is going to be a confirmed deviation, something exactly like what happened back on 4th of November. You can see that price gave you a massive deviation above this resistance, and then finally it continued to go back down to this higher time frame support level. If something like this happens with Bitcoin going down or Bitcoin trading in the territory of, let's say, 84,000, 85,000, then you would have a very nice opportunity to build a long position. Okay. And at the same time, if Bitcoin goes back up to the $93,000, $94,000 resistance level and nothing really happens there, price has been rejected at that resistance level at least 10 to 15 times, 10 to 12 times already for the last few weeks. And if Bitcoin goes back up to that resistance with Bitcoin dominance going back down to the support, something which happened exactly, uh, you know, uh, at the time this FOMC meeting happened, or 24 hours before FOMC. If you guys remember, we had this long position on what was the name of the coin? I guess it was Ethereum Finance, which actually hit the stop loss. The big mistake which we did was not only Bitcoin was trading at the resistance, but at the same time, Bitcoin dominance was sitting at the support. I was anticipating that maybe if we are lucky, then price would just break below the support and Bitcoin dominance would break below the support and price on the Bitcoin chart would break above this resistance. But it was a kind of a stupid idea. I would definitely like to admit this, because if Bitcoin dominance is sitting at support, you should absolutely avoid taking any um long positions. And at the same time, you should be avoiding taking any long positions on Bitcoin, especially when price on the Bitcoin chart is sitting at a resistance level, a major resistance level. We will be talking about that resistance level later on. Just a small request to all of you. Almost 50 plus people are watching this live stream. I would highly appreciate if all of you are able to just simply like this live stream and make sure that you are already subscribed to the YouTube channel. So going back to our discussion, Bitcoin, this is exactly what the Bitcoin dominance chart is telling us. Okay. So what I'm going to do in the next 24 hours, I would wait to see if price actually gives us a bounce here, or if this simply just turns out to be a fake out with price giving us a break below this level, or maybe closing a daily candle somewhere around in this range. That is when I am most likely going to start looking for long positions. But it really depends on where exactly Bitcoin is trading at that point. I would say that I'm not a big fan of opening long positions on these big market cap coins. In this current situation, I would stay focused on these coins that have a relatively small market cap, which I know that are going to move in their own lane, which I know that are going to have their own things going on. For example, ACT, you can see that I'm trying to build a long position on ACT. I completely missed out on this long trade. I'm waiting for ICNT to give another retest at this higher time frame support. I'm waiting for this coin to give a 4H close above this resistance level. I'm actively focused on some of these other bigger market cap, some of these other top gainers and top losers also. So yeah, LRC, another coin. The only problem with this coin is that I was planning to take a long position, but again, because it's trading under major resistance levels, also it's trading under its previous month's point of control. So I'm definitely not going to take any risk, especially with long positions. With short positions, the ones that are slowly bleeding, like the gun USDT, this was a good short trade because it had to just go down like this. Most of the times, these shit coins, as soon as they go up, as soon as they form this pattern, this is usually what we refer to as a Burj Khalifa pattern. They would always retrace the whole move. There is going to be little to no pump when this retracement happens, and you can always wait for price to break below a certain support level. For example, it did break below this support without giving any reaction. That was a signal to go short. Then it did break below the support level without giving any reaction so far. It was a good short trade. So this is the strategy that you can use on these shit coins, even if you have to build a short position, or even if you are just focused on long positions. For long positions, I would definitely not recommend taking a long if price is simply just 2% up, 3% up during the last 24 hours. Focus on the coins that had a huge move. Anything above 10%, anything above 9% usually is usually going to catch the attention from other market participants. And this is how exactly these coins go up. If people believe price has already given a break above these resistance level and they are in the top gainers list, so almost everyone would already be looking at these coins and they would naturally try to enter these coins, and as a result of it, price would automatically go up. So you need to be focused on these you need to be focused on these small market cap coins. usually, and especially the ones that are in the top gainers or top losers list. And it's kind of very obvious that in the top gainers or top losers list, the coins are most likely going to be the small market cap or mid market cap coins. It's not possible for a big market cap coin like a coin that has a market cap of, let's say, in billions of dollars. It's not possible for that coin to go up 50%, 60%, 70% just like that. I mean, it's a very rare situation. It may happen, but it's again a very rare kind of situation. And usually the coins that you would find in the top gainers or top losers list, they are going to be the small market cap or mid market cap coins. So yeah, now let's talk about the Bitcoin chart as well. What's happening with Bitcoin? Before I do that, again, the topic of this live stream is that, do we actually have a big support at 85,000, 84,000? Because price just continues to bounce at this level. First of all, let me try to give you let me try to tell you about the resistance level. For that, I need to take you guys to the weekly time frame chart, because it's kind of very simple if you're looking to build a long position on Bitcoin. And by the way, I would be telling you, shortly about, the most important thing which is about to happen in the next 24 hours. So once again, please make sure to like the live stream. Please make sure to watch this live stream till the end. Kelly is saying, Sherlock, I really enjoy these updates. Thank you for all you do. Thank you so much, Kelly. Um, People are saying BOJ will be big, BOJ rate hike, triple. Okay. I will be talking about this shortly. Just give me a few minutes. First of all, let me show you the chart, the Bitcoin chart on the weekly time frame. So this is the weekly time frame chart for Bitcoin. You can just open it up on the 3-day time frame. You can take a look at it on the weekly time frame, but this is the chart for Bitcoin that you would need on the higher time frames. Okay, very simple chart. You can take a look at this chart and you can tell me that all of you would immediately be able to tell that price is trading below a major weekly resistance level. This resistance is going to be visible on the weekly time frame chart, on the daily time frame chart, on the 3-day time frame chart, if you're planning to build a long position. And by the way, I would be giving you uh you know a smaller time frame update also as to what exactly is happening on the smaller time frame chart. And by the way, I can see that this is, by the way, very interesting. I can see that price has made two equal lows on the 3-day time frame chart. By the way, we still have 2 days and 1 hour for this 3-day candle to close. I'm not sure about the daily candle. Let's take a look at the daily time frame chart also. Yeah, so on the daily time frame chart also, we have 2 equal lows on the daily time frame chart. And you know the simple man theory. As soon as you would spot the equal lows on the chart, you would immediately try to build a long position. As soon as you would see the equal highs on the chart, you would immediately try to build a short position after the candle close. So this could be a good, nice long trade. I mean, if you're trading in the super small time frame, this could benefit you. But overall, looking at the structure and everything, looking at a few other factors, if you're serious about building a position, okay, if you're serious about building a position, then I would definitely not recommend doing so. But yeah, simple man theory. Take a look at the equal lows, build a long position. Take a look at the equal highs, build a short position. Govind is asking, which indicator do you use to see point of control? So Govind, you can actually use, on TradingView, I found only one indicator which is good. If you wish to take a look at previous month's point of control, it's called HTFPOC. It's by this guy called P2Pasta. Okay, he has 2 indicators. One is called HTFPOC, higher time frame POC. The other one is called lower time frame POC, which basically gives you the point of controls for the previous days, I guess. This one gives you point of controls for the previous weeks and previous months. I don't really use the previous weeks one, but for the previous months, it is really useful. And I normally don't just rely on this indicator, because on TradingView, there is this one indicator. There is just one indicator which I found to be really useful, this one that I just mentioned to you by P2Pasta. I usually rely on the Exo charts or Quant Tower. So, most of these other charting platforms, order flow platforms like Exo charts, you need to, by the way, have a subscription on these platforms. So most of these other platforms, they usually have a very, very good mechanism of calculating the previous month's point of controls. For example, on Exo charts, you can see that if you would go into the settings and you would simply just click on month, then you would click on previous, apply and rebuild, and then you would just show the CPL. So you can see that this is where the previous month's point of control is. I would have to probably just change the settings a little bit. It's going to take some time. But you would see the previous month's point of control somewhere around here. Let me just turn on the CPR as well. So this is going to be the previous week's point of control. So it usually takes some time to load the previous month's point of controls, but you can use exocharts. You can normally use Quant or any other charting platform. They would have inbuilt tools to calculate previous month's point of controls. With TradingView indicators, it's usually very annoying also because they have different values for previous month's point of controls, and it also depends on what exchange chart you are looking at. Remember this thing, because point of control is something which is directly related to volume. Okay, so you are basically looking at a point that had the most amount of volume traded during the last 1 month. Okay, so this is what the point of control is all about. So different exchanges, they would have different volumes. Okay, normally it's going to be same usually, but different exchanges, they would have different volumes for a certain coin, and for that reason the point of control, it also depends on which chart you are looking at. So I would recommend that if you are looking at Bitcoin or any other chart, you should normally be focused on the Binance chart or the Bybit chart instead of, or even Bluffin chart as well. I have found Bluffin to be extremely useful in this situation. They usually have the same point of controls as if you would plot it on any other exchange charts. They usually have very good point of controls. But again, try to use the Binance, Bybit, or the Bluffin chart if you wish to plot the point of controls for the previous months or for the previous weeks or for the previous days. For smaller time frames like days or weeks, I would normally suggest that you use the Binance chart. But anyways, this is a weekly time frame chart for Bitcoin, or the 3-day time frame chart for Bitcoin, and you can see that price is trading under this major daily resistance. Okay, this is really important. I mean, if you're planning to build a long position on Bitcoin, it's a very simple chart until or unless we have a 3-day close above. Okay, just like it happened back on 1st of May, just like it happened in this situation. So until or unless we have a 3-day close above, I would say minimum 3-day is required. Do not rely on the daily time frame close. At least rely on the 3-day close. So until or unless we have a 3-day close above $93,800 resistance level, you are not really going to look for any long positions. Okay, so wait for price to give you a close above this level. And people are talking about 98k, people are talking about 100k, people are saying that there can be rejection at 100k, 98k. I'm giving you a straightforward target. As soon as we have a daily close above this level, above this resistance, all you have to do is just build a long position on Bitcoin, place your stop loss slightly under this resistance, under the support level, which will be a support. If price gives a 3-day close above this level, it will be flipped into a support. It's going to be a small stop loss in my opinion, only $2,000-3,000 stop. And then all you have to do is just target at least 108,000. So let's just say that you take a long position at 94,200, you place your stop loss at 90,292, and your target is 108,000. That still is going to give you a 3.7 risk to reward ratio. Forget about 98k, forget about 100k, just focus on 108,000 to 112,000, and that's where we are going to build our big short position, which we have been waiting for the past few months. I would say it's going to be a really, really big short position. Do not miss out on this opportunity. If you get an opportunity to short Bitcoin at 108,000 to 112,000, definitely make use of this opportunity. I don't exactly know where price is headed towards at this point. No one actually knows. Even if someone is telling you that it's headed towards 108,000, 112,000 in the next few hours, I mean, especially considering that price has been moving in this range for the last 1.5 month almost. Everyone should learn the lesson that all these people giving you predictions, all these people giving you random price forecasts based on dates, they're simply just lying to you. They're simply just trying to have some sort of engagement. Otherwise, that's not really how things work. Only if price gives you a break above this resistance, at least on 3-day chart, that's when you're going to build a long position. Until or unless that happens, you would just continue to have that constant fear, or every market participants would continue to have that constant fear that Bitcoin price could ultimately go back down to 73,000, 74,000. This is really important. But there are certain factors. Okay, now before I move on to the certain factors part, which is by the way really interesting part, let me show you the 4-hour time frame chart also, because I just want to cover as much technicals as possible. So on the 4-hour time frame chart, one interesting thing that I have been noticing is that you see on the daily time frame chart, the structure for Bitcoin, it's definitely bearish. Okay, I have been saying this for the past, I guess, 6, 7 live streams, that on the daily time frame chart, the structure for Bitcoin is bearish and it's not going to turn bullish anytime soon. Even if price goes back up to 108,000 to 112,000, it's not really going to change the daily time frame structure for Bitcoin. It's going to take, I would say, an equal amount of effort and time to some extent for the structure to be flipped bullish. Okay, what do I exactly mean by the time part? Remember that the structure for Bitcoin turned from bearish to bullish back in the month of October 2023, almost 2 years ago. That is when the actual bull market started. And the structure remained bullish for 2 consecutive years. And now this was the first structure shift after 2 years. And for that reason, you cannot expect the structure to immediately flip bullish back again. Okay, the structure has only just started turning bearish. This was just the first change of character. Now there are going to be multiple break of structures. At least this is what I'm expecting on the daily time frame chart. And for that reason, I say that it's going to take an equal amount of effort and to some extent time for bulls to flip the structure bullish back again. And I would say that until or unless we have a new all-time high, a break above 126,000, the structure is not really going to flip. And you would have this constant fear that any upside move, it's simply just going to be a massive retracement waves. Not even massive retracement wave, it's going to be massive retracement wave because you would be looking at the higher time frame charts. Normally, if you're looking at 3-day time frame chart, or let's say on the weekly time frame chart, you would draw the fib level, start of impulsive wave, end of impulsive wave. Price can always retrace back up to this level, 70.5% fib level, 75% fib level, and that's where price is going to face significant resistance, because there is some resistance in the form of 4-hour resistance, daily resistance. There is some resistance in the form of structure also. So there are a few other important things that are connected with this whole situation. The important part is that the daily time frame structure for Bitcoin is bearish. And now let's talk about the 4-hour time frame structure. So on the 4-hour time frame chart, you see this was the external structural high, this was the external structural low, and this is actually quite frustrating also. And by the way, this was your swing failure pattern, this was your swing failure pattern, this was your swing failure pattern. And how many of you remember that when I came back from Singapore, I told you guys about this swing failure pattern? So most of these big dumps on Bitcoin, they've mainly happened because of these swing failure patterns. This happened because of the swing failure pattern. This happened because of another swing failure pattern. So here also you can see that most of these big dumps, they mainly happened because of these swing failure patterns. And you can draw another structural high somewhere around 94.5K. And if you get to see another similar kind of swing failure pattern, you can actually start building a short position on Bitcoin. But the important point here is that this is your external structural high, this is your external structural low, and price is simply just moving in between this range. So until or unless we have a break and close above this high or a break and close below this low, the structure on the 4-hour time frame chart, it's not really going to change, it's not really going to flip. But the important part that I wish to explain here is that price in terms of internal structure is definitely creating some higher lows and higher highs. Okay, what do I exactly mean by that? This was a low which got created back on 21st of November, around 80,000, 80.5K. Then this low was higher than the previous low. This low was higher than this low, or this low was higher than the previous low. So, I would expect here that, price would just continue to go back up and give us a new higher high. So higher low, a higher high, higher low, or maybe a new higher high. To some extent, this was also a higher low and a new higher high, but because a new low got created, what matters here is that this low is not breached, okay, because the whole internal structure remains intact. But guys, remember this important part, that we are only talking about internal structure. Actually, internal structure is not something which really matters. Something which matters the most is the external structure. And the reality is that nothing really has changed even on the 4-hour time frame chart. Forget about daily, forget about 16-hour, forget about 12-hour, forget about 8-hour. Even on the 4-hour time frame chart, we have not really seen any structural flip, and there have been only swing failure patterns even on the smaller time frame charts also, which is kind of a disappointing thing. And by the way, I can see that there is a small trend line maybe. Yeah, a trend line breakout happened just during the last 8 hours or so. This is actually a good thing, but it's all in the smaller time frame chart. And to give you an example of this, to show you a theoretical schematic of this, see, price is moving in a downtrend. You have an impulsive wave, a corrective wave, impulsive wave, corrective wave, and impulsive wave. Now suddenly what starts happening is that price starts creating these higher highs and higher lows. Okay, and you would say that, look, this is a really good upside move happening, but you are forgetting the reality that this was your high, okay, external structural high, and this is your external structural low. Everything is contained inside this major swing high and major swing low, and this is all internal structure in play. This internal structure is contained inside this external structure, and as a result of it, it's not something which matters. Okay, and this internal structure is completely irrelevant. Some people say that to some extent, this internal structure may be an indication that a bigger external structural break is about to happen, or a bigger external structural flip is about to happen. But again, there is always going to be, I would say, a 50-50% chance that this may result, a formation of higher lows and higher highs may actually result in price giving you an external structural flip. Reality is that even on the internal structural, even in terms of a 4-hour time frame chart, the external structure remains bearish, and we have not really seen any structural flip so far. Again, very important fact. Most people are talking about 85,000 being an important support, but we are forgetting about the realities. But yeah, now enough of the technicals, enough talking about the structure and all these boring things. What about 84,000, 85,000? Now remember this thing. First of all, MicroStrategy now holds around 671,000 Bitcoin. Okay, now that's a huge number, 671,000 Bitcoin. And their average cost for one Bitcoin, their average buying is around, if I'm not wrong, 84,000, 85,000. So people are saying that this makes a very important support for Bitcoin around 85,000, 84,000. The second important thing that people are mentioning here is that 82,000 is the electrical cost for Bitcoin, and Bitcoin has never ever given a break below its electrical cost, 82,000. The third most important point, which is being mentioned over and over again, is that BlackRock's average buying price, and for most of these other funds, like for most of these other spot ETFs, the average buying price for one Bitcoin is somewhere around 82,000, 83,000. And for that reason, there is actually a very good support for Bitcoin around 82,000, 83,000. Now, first of all, let's talk about the MicroStrategy part. Back in 2022-23, when MicroStrategy was holding somewhere around 140,000 Bitcoin, 130,000 Bitcoin, at that time, their average buying price was $35,000 Bitcoin, $35,000 per Bitcoin. And then Bitcoin went all the way down to $15,000. And MicroStrategy obviously did not sell. The point that I'm trying to make here is that people saying that Bitcoin can never actually break below 84,000, 85,000 because this is the average buying price for MicroStrategy. Saylor has been constantly announcing the buys. Just 2 days ago, he announced buying another $1 billion worth of Bitcoin, and price barely moved. Even price started going in the opposite direction. So the point is that his buys rarely impact the market, first thing. Second is that, these big institutions, they don't really care about their average buying price. Okay, as long as, and Michael Saylor himself has repeatedly mentioned this thing, that they are buying Bitcoin for the next 15 to 20 years. So they don't really care about these smaller term price swings. They're buying Bitcoin for the next 15 to 20 years. Now it's a totally separate debate if the strategy that they're using, MicroStrategy, the strategy that they're using is feasible or not. And by the way, I would be writing a Twitter update on this topic very soon. I would highly recommend that you go and follow my Twitter handle 𝗟𝘍𝗶𝗏, because not only I'm posting market updates, but I'm also posting some of these educational articles. I'm writing specifically these articles for you guys. Also, I've started posting some really nice things So please make sure that you're following me on my Twitter handle, 𝗟𝘁𝗶𝗵𝗵𝗁, and you are also engaging with these posts. Because we regularly announce giveaways for our Twitter members, you would be able to participate in those giveaways. And by the way, I would be announcing one monthly subscription winner. Uh, you know, uh, I would be announcing one free monthly subscription towards the end of this live stream. Please make sure to remind me towards the end of the live stream. If any one of you would like to participate in the giveaway, please make sure that you are following me on Twitter, you are subscribed to the YouTube channel, and you have already liked this live stream. Again, I would be announcing one winner towards the end of this live stream. Okay, so all these people saying that Bitcoin could actually never break below, is never really going to break below 40,000, sorry, 84,000, 85,000. It's because, this is the average buying price for Bitcoin. MicroStrategy's average buying price during the last cycle was 35,000, and price during the bear market went all the way down to 15,000. They did not panic. They did not panic sell. And again, because they're buying for the long term, Saylor himself, he has repeatedly mentioned this thing. And I was pointing out this fact that even though the strategy that they're using, it may not be feasible, I would be writing a very detailed article on this, that they are probably playing a very dangerous game here, especially considering that now they hold almost 4% of Bitcoin supply that will ever exist. Okay, so MicroStrategy is a big player in this context. Okay, just to give you an example for this, soon after the ETF approval, Grayscale, they reduced their holding from 600,000 Bitcoin all the way down to 200,000 Bitcoin. As a result of it, Bitcoin took a huge impact. And this happened mainly when there was there were significant inflows into these spot ETFs. All of this was happening when the other major players, they were actually buying Bitcoin. And despite this important fact that the other major players, they were accumulating Bitcoin, and Grayscale, they were reducing their holdings, Bitcoin's price actually took a huge hit because of Grayscale reducing their holdings from 600,000 all the way down to 200,000. And for that reason, it's very important that MicroStrategy is not fucking up this whole game. Okay, to put it in the simplest possible words, it's very important that an institution which is holding almost 3 to 4% of Bitcoin supply, which may not sound very big, which may not really sound huge, but it actually is huge, especially considering that, if I'm not wrong, almost 12 to 15% of the supply is already lost forever. Okay, it's stuck in the blocks. It is never really going to be recovered back again. So it's really important that MicroStrategy is not fucking up the whole situation, which they are actually doing by using the strategies to buy or accumulate more Bitcoin. I will be talking about this strategy in that Twitter article that I will be publishing very soon, and it is going to give you a very, very dangerous picture of what exactly is happening in the market right now, and why this could result in the death for Bitcoin. I would say, this is not only going to result in a death for MicroStrategy itself, but this is also going to result in a huge sell-off for Bitcoin also, because they are playing a very dangerous game. So this MicroStrategy argument that this is their average buying price, it is not viable at all. It's not a valid argument in my opinion at all. And Bitcoin price can definitely go back down to 74,000, 75,000, breaking below this level. Although, saying that price may not remain below this level for a significant period of time, I mean, it's kind of very obvious that they would try to bring their average price, lower. But this argument that, a price would never ever break below their average buying price of MicroStrategy, it's not a valid argument. Now, the second argument, the electrical cost for Bitcoin. Now, this may be a valid argument because Bitcoin has never really given a break below its electrical cost, which people are saying that it's $82,000. Now, different websites, they may have an altogether different number for this. But last time I checked, just to give you an example for this, why do people have an argument like this? And by the way, this is actually a very, very valid argument, I would say. During the last cycle, before halving, the average price for mining one Bitcoin was between $15,000 and $25,000. So if you had the best possible equipment in the market, then you were mining one Bitcoin at $15,000 price. It was taking you $15,000 to mine one Bitcoin. Or if you had not so good equipment available in the market, then your average mining price was at $25,000, $26,000 per Bitcoin. Now, people at that time said that price for Bitcoin cannot break below $15,000, or it cannot continue to trade below $15,000 price level, because if that happens, it's simply just going to, the whole system is going to break. Okay. And it was kind of a valid argument from the perspective of game theory also, that the participants, they will only participate in a system or in a game or in an environment where it's actually feasible for all the market participants, where the overall system is beneficial for all the market participants. You would not really like to play a game, or you would not really like to participate in a system in which you are bound to lose. I mean, no miner would like to mine Bitcoin if price of Bitcoin continues to trade at, let's say, 10,000, 8,000, $7,000, because this is far, far below their average mining price. And they just cannot continue to do so. At some point in time, they're simply just going to lose their patience, and they would say that because this overall system is not beneficial for me, this overall system is not profitable for me, this business is no longer profitable for me, so I'm simply just going to abandon this whole thing. And as a result of it, price just continues to go up because people use this metric and they buy more Bitcoin. And this, the miners, they continue to participate in the system. And we know that miners are probably the most important component of this whole machine, and they need to be actively participate in this whole system for the system itself to work, for Bitcoin actually to work. So this is very important. And people gave this argument during the last cycle also, that price cannot stay below $15,000 $15,000 price level, because if that happens, the overall system would break, the overall system would no longer be beneficial, it would no longer be profitable for the most important market participants, which are not buyers or sellers, that are actually the miners. And it proved to be true. Now, the same argument was given when price was trading around 49, 50, $52,000, because soon after the halving, the average mining price for Bitcoin with the best possible equipment available in the market, now it has increased. Now it has gone up to $52,000 to $53,000 per Bitcoin. Or if you have not so good equipment available in the market, then the average mining price, and by the way, it is always changing, but if you do not have not so good equipment available in the market, then the average mining price for mining one Bitcoin, it's going to be somewhere around $70,000 to $75,000. So that's why, this argument was given the last time also, when price, if you guys remember, back on 5th of August 2024, when BOJ decided to increase the interest rates. As a result of it, Bitcoin went from 62,000. There was this huge wick on the Bitcoin chart. I don't know how many of you remember this or not, but there was this huge wick on the Bitcoin chart when price went all the way down to this one, when price went all the way down to $49,000 level. At that time, the average mining price for mining one Bitcoin with the best possible equipment available in the market was 52,000. And you can see that price did not stay below this level. Price did not stay below 52,000, and there was this immediate recovery. Now, you may ask the question that why exactly this immediate recovery happens. It's very obvious that all of the market participants, they are looking at this metric, and they know that the overall system would no longer be efficient, and as a result of it, as soon as price would drop below these levels, they would immediately start accumulating Bitcoin. So, if I have to give you a wide range, if you wish to accumulate Bitcoin for long term, even if there is a bear market in the next few months, in the next 1 or 2 years, then 52,000 to 75,000, 70,000, that is going to be a good range for you to buy or accumulate more Bitcoin, because with the best possible equipment available in the market, SPX is saying if miners exit because value is not there, supply can only come from sellers, and eventually scarcity could set in. No, in order to verify the transactions, in order to support the whole thing, support the whole systems, miners are probably the most important component. Not exactly probably, but actually the most important component of this whole system. So anyways, going back to the topic, $52,000 to $70,000 range, this is going to be a good range for you to accumulate or buy more Bitcoin if you wish to do so, or any other coin that you have conviction in. So the second argument, that price cannot break below the average mining price, it is actually a valid argument. Same is the case with the electrical cost also. 82,000 is the electrical cost, although the mining cost argument is much more valid in my opinion. The third argument, that the average buying price for these spot ETFs, people who have accumulated accumulated Bitcoin in these spot ETFs, the average buying price is around 82,000, 83,000. That is also a valid argument to some extent. I mean, it's not like price cannot break below this level and price cannot stay below this level. Yes, it can be debated if price is going to stay below this level for a longer period. Just to give an example for this, the average buying price for most of these spot ETFs was 62,000 not long ago, and price did actually stay below $62,000 price level for a longer period. Okay. But again, this argument that it cannot break below or it cannot stay below this level for short term, for a shorter period, definitely it's possible. For a longer period, it may not really be possible. I definitely agree with the fact that, these big institutions, these big hedge funds, they would definitely try to rigorously defend their positions if price continues to stay below this level, or they would buy more and more Bitcoin, they would accumulate more and more Bitcoin. As a result of it, price may not actually break below this level. And this is exactly why you are seeing that we have some very good buying taking place around $82,000, $85,000 price range. Another very important thing is that it's not just about the Bitcoin chart. It's actually about the USDT dominance chart also. Now, I have shown you guys this chart multiple times during some of my previous live streams also, that the USDT dominance chart is sitting at a very, very important, very crucial point, okay? Because this is the gateway to the bear market. Understand this chart. This is the gateway to the bear market. If USDT dominance gives you a break above this level, a weekly close above this level, that's when the bear market is going to set in. And that is when, this is going to be the bottom for Bitcoin. Sorry, this is going to be the bottom for Bitcoin. I don't exactly know where Bitcoin is going to be once USDT dominance goes back up to this resistance, but most likely it's going to be $52,000 to $40,000 range, because if you see, that's almost a 35 to 40% price jump, and 35 to 40% price dump on the Bitcoin chart, it will bring the Bitcoin price down to $40,000, $45,000 range. So that is where the next bottom for Bitcoin could be. But again, as I say, during all the previous situations, for example, you see the bull market started back in October 2023 when USDT dominance had a break below this support, break below this weekly support. This was bottom for Bitcoin at 38,000. This was bottom for Bitcoin around 52,000. This was another bottom for Bitcoin around 72,000, 75,000. This could be another bottom for Bitcoin. Okay, this was top for Bitcoin, this was top for Bitcoin, this was top for Bitcoin, and this was another top for Bitcoin. So you see, it's very simple. Whenever USDT dominance gives a retest at this weekly resistance, it's bottom for Bitcoin. Whenever it gives a retest at this weekly support, it is top for Bitcoin. But if we break above this level, or once we break above this level, that is when the panic is going to set in my opinion. That is when you would have a bigger chance that it will eventually go back up to 8.5% level. Stablecoin dominance or USDT dominance would go back up to 8.5% level, and that is when, again, in my opinion, the bear market is going to set in. And this is the gateway to the bear market that we are sitting at. That is why 82,000 price level, it's really important. It's less about, I would say, 75,000, 76,000. It is more about where USDT dominance is. Okay, remember this thing. USDT dominance bounced at this support, again at this support, again at this support, again at this support. But Bitcoin created an all-time high at 74,000. Bitcoin created a new all-time high at 112,000. Bitcoin created a new all-time high at 112,000. So USDT dominance is giving the bounce at the same support, but the prices on the Bitcoin chart, they're constantly changes. USDT dominance gave a rejection at this resistance. Okay, this was bottom for Bitcoin, 38,000. It gave a rejection at the same resistance. This was this was actually 52,000, sorry, 49,000 for Bitcoin. Another resistance retest, the same resistance retest, but this was 72,000 back in April, Liberation Day tariffs. All of you would remember that. Again, the same resistance, but this time Bitcoin created a new bottom at 82,000. So it's less about where Bitcoin is, and it's more about where USDT dominance is when it's retesting the resistance. So as soon as we have a weekly close above this resistance, slightly above this resistance level, that's when the whole system is going to break, in my opinion. That is when the panic is going to set in, and that is when, I will simply just wait for price to reach this resistance level, and that's when I'm going to accumulate more Bitcoin. So this was the most important this was the most important part of the live stream also. Now, let's talk about the second most important part, that what will be happening in the next 24 hours. Why the next 24 hours are really important? Because in the next 24 hours, and by the way, there is 90% probability that BOJ is about to, Bank of Japan, they're about to announce 25 basis point rate hike. The new interest rate are going to be set at 0.75%, and this is a 30-year high that we are about to see in the next 24 hours. Okay, so they're most likely going to announce the decision somewhere in the Asian session. So it's probably going to be midnight for you. Something very similar to what happened back on 5th of August 2024 when BOJ decided to increase the interest rate. Something very similar to what happened back in March 2024. Something very similar to what happened in July 2024. Something very similar to what happened in January 2025. So, as soon as they increase the interest rates, and by the way, they have increased interest rates 3 times. Okay. And in all of these 3 times, at all of these 3 previous occasions, the price on the Bitcoin chart went down almost on average 20 to 30%. This is really important. Please pay attention to it. I would just repeat this whole thing. BOJ is about to, there is a 90% probability that BOJ is about to increase the interest rate. 25 basis point rate hike is about to happen in the next 24 hours. And as soon as they announce this rate hike decision, that is when Bitcoin is going to take a major hit. It's quite possible that Bitcoin will be taking a major hit because this is exactly what has happened in all 3 previous occasions when Bitcoin on average took a hit of almost 20 to 30% on average whenever they decided to increase the interest rates. Because it's very simple, this was the end of the carry trade. Okay, now most of you may not actually have any idea about this. This is very important. I would highly encourage all of you to read about this. It's very simple. For the last few decades, the interest rates in Japan, they were basically near to zero. Okay, so it was quite easy for all these big institutions, for all these big hedge funds to simply just borrow yen from the Japanese market, from the Japanese government, and simply just exchange those yen for dollars and simply just use those dollars to buy Bitcoin or invest in other risky assets like stocks, like equities, like crypto, or any other assets that they wished to invest in. It was very simple. They borrowed yen at a very, very small interest rate. Okay, because again, as I mentioned, that for decades the interest rate was even below zero. It was negative interest rates in Japan because it was fighting a deflationary environment for the past few decades. And now the inflation has been going up, and as a result of it, they're slowly increasing the interest rates. So understand this logic. For decades, all of these big institutions, they were borrowing money, they were borrowing yen from the Japanese government at a low interest rate environment, in a very low interest rate environment, and they were using those yen to exchange them into US dollars, and then they were using those US dollars to buy things like Bitcoin. And now that the interest rates in Japan, they are going up, as a result of it, they would have to pay. And by the way, this was a very, very easy carry trade because you were borrowing money from Japan at a very low interest rates. You flipped it into dollar and you were using that dollar to buy risky assets that were easily going up 10 to 15%. Okay, so let's just say that you were borrowing $70,000 worth of yen and you were using those to buy Bitcoin, and even if Bitcoin went up only 10%, you were easily making $7,000 and you were only paying 0.1% interest rate. Okay, so this was simply just free money for anyone doing this thing. But as a result of it, now that the inflation is going up, the Bank of Japan, they have been slowly increasing the interest rates, and that is why this carry trade is slowly ending. Now these people who were borrowing yen at a low interest rate, now they would have to borrow yen at a much higher interest rate. So they're simply just selling Bitcoin or any other markets that they have exposure in, or any other risky assets that they have bought, especially Bitcoin. The reason why Bitcoin takes a bigger hit in these kind of situations is because it's a risky asset. So what these big hedge funds or institutions, what they would naturally do is they would sell all of their holdings and they would convert them back into dollars, and then they would convert them back into yen, and then they would try to simply just return this debt. They would simply just try to exchange this thing because they obviously don't want to pay higher interest rates, because they can understand that this carry trade is slowly ending, it's slowly dying, and as a result of it, these risky assets, they would automatically take a larger hit. And for that reason, at all three previous instances, during all three previous situations, whenever BOJ decided to increase the interest rates during the last 2 years, Bitcoin on average always took a 20 to 30% hit whenever it happened. Okay. So yeah, that's all from my side. If you guys have any further questions in this regard, please make sure to let me know in the chat box. The fear and greed index, if you take a look at the fear and greed index, it is an extreme fear territory. Last month it was 15, and by the way, it usually presents a very, very good buying opportunity whenever the fear and greed index is in this red territory. And for the past 1 month or so, we have been moving in this extreme fear territory. So there is definitely extreme fear in the market as to what exactly is happening. And this BOJ announcement, in my opinion, this could be a make or break for Bitcoin. Okay. Really important, but this could be a make or break for Bitcoin. So I would highly recommend that you keep an eye on this announcement. Back on 5th of August 2024, also, not many people realized this thing. Not many people understood what happened, but this was mainly because BOJ decided to increase the interest rates. So this is very important. Now over to you guys. If you have any questions, please make sure to let me know. Good thing I will be on an 8-hour flight when they announce it, Matthew is saying. Yeah, this is actually a good thing. I would say that for the next 24 hours, I mean, there is definitely not going to be any pump, okay, in the market, because as I said, 90% probability that they're going to increase the interest rates by 25 basis points. Okay, so it's definitely going to be a negative reaction for the overall market. So should we close our longs? We only have one long position open, and that's on BNB, at least from my side. Then should we close BNB long today? No, we are keeping the BNB long open for now. Honestly, that was a very unfortunate thing because we missed the break even on BNB by 0.3%. I honestly do not understand why Fed rate cuts are always already priced in, but BOJ rate cuts comes as a shock to the market. No, Nicholas, that's not really the case. Interest rates are almost always priced in. The policy statements, they are not something which is priced in. Okay, remember this thing. Just to give you an example for this, back in December 2024, Fed decided to lower the interest rates, and as a result of it, Bitcoin dumped from 103,000 all the way down to 92,000. And people were wondering that what exactly happened. What happened was a flip in the policy, in the overall policy, right? So the overall policy, it really matters a lot. If they say that they would just continue with this hiking cycle, if they would just continue to increase the interest rate, then obviously it's going to be negative for the overall markets. But if they say that, look, we are like, making a pause on this, or we are probably going to lower the interest rates, that's a totally different situation, right? So that's why, the policy statements, the Fed dot plot in this situation, these are the things that really matter. Would you suggest putting some shorts on for tonight? Also, have you produced your Confluence sheet? I would say that wait for Bitcoin dominance to actually give a close. Okay, this is really important. Bitcoin dominance, you can see that it's slowly recovering. I'm not even sure at this point where exactly Bitcoin dominance is headed towards. If it gives you a daily close above this resistance, that is when you can actually start looking for shorts. Because, then it will be confirmed that Bitcoin dominance has actually fully reclaimed this resistance. And it will eventually go back up to $5,000 level. Okay, and that's going to be very bearish for all of these big market cap coins. Oh my God, LRC? Damn. Did we just miss the trade on LRC? No, we did not. ACT, sorry. Even LRC is pumping. Yeah, we definitely missed this long trade. It's up only 4%, but yeah, it's sitting at a resistance, a significant resistance. So yeah, I would simply just avoid this one. ACT is looking like a good one. Just waiting for it to give a retest at the support. What will be the reaction on gold? BTC USD stocks will fall probably. Yeah, this is what I'm expecting. 90 probability suggests it's priced in. No, yes, it is already priced in. What time is BOJ rate hike decision announcement tomorrow? The meeting has already started. It's going to continue for the next 2 days. So the announcement will be made probably, obviously on Friday, 19th of December. I don't exactly know the time when the announcement will be made, but you can check it online on Google. Let me just do it on, where is the calendar? Let's use the filter. So JPY, let's just, okay, so it's tentative, yeah. You can see that it's tentative. So we don't exactly know when the announcement will be made, but it will be made on 19th of December. So they could just make the announcement at any point. Monetary policy statements, again, BOJ press conference. As I said, these two are the things, the policy statements and the press conference in which they will discuss things. These are the two things that are not priced in. And as a result of it, market always is looking at these kind of announcements. Thanks for clarifying, brother. Last question, but what is your take on the triple watching this Friday? Which effect on the market? I don't exactly know about this. I have been seeing people talking about this, but could you just please explain this a little bit? I'm confused. You say it's priced in, but it is going to dump. No, I'm saying that the the rate hike itself, it's priced in. Okay, it's almost always priced in, but the policy statements, the monetary policy statements, which we refer to as a dot plot in the case of Fed, and the BOJ press conference. By policy statement, I mean to say something like, about the future prospect. Okay, what exactly is their opinion about the future prospects as to what exactly they would be doing in the next few months, or in the next 2 years, or in the next 3 years. This is something which is never really priced in. Okay, in the case of Fed also, this is something which is not really priced in, and as a result of it, market always is keeping an eye on this most important announcement. So if they say that they will continue to increase the interest rates, obviously there is going to be a dump. Obviously there is going to be negative reaction in the market. And the part that the people are not even aware of this thing, and they're only going to get caught up in a situation where price would already be going down. And if BOJ, let's say they mention that they're going to, they're going to make a pause on this hiking cycle, then that's when the market could give you a positive reaction, but it's very unlikely. Okay. So yeah, if you guys have any further questions in this regard, please make sure to let me know. These are the coins that I'm looking at, especially ACT and LYN. This one has not given any break and close above the previous resistance, this resistance, but ACT, this one I'm actually looking at. I'm simply just waiting for it to give a retest at this support level. But so far the reaction has been positive. Good thing that it has given a 4-hour close above. We can actually take a long trade, but it's going to be a wide stop loss. It's going to be almost a 13% stop loss, and considering that the next resistance is somewhere around 0.030, it's not really a good risk to reward ratio trade. But yeah, we can actually do that. Let me set an alert around here, or we can simply just wait for the retest of this support also. So almost a 7% price. We will be taking a long position when price has already gone up almost by 7%. So that may not really be a good position in my opinion. Okay, guys, the live stream has been going on for 1 hour and 23 minutes. I would highly encourage you guys to just like the live stream. Please make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. I would really appreciate this thing if you guys would show some love. And secondly, if you're not following me on Twitter, make sure to give me a follow on Twitter as well. I occasionally post market updates and calls on my Twitter account also. I have been posting the articles as well. There will be more educational articles being posted on the Twitter account, so make sure that you're following this handle, 𝗟𝘍𝗏. And by the way, again, if you guys would like to join the Discord server, if you guys would like to receive more organized updates and calls, you can always join in the Discord server. The link you can find in the description of this video. We have this Black Friday sale going on. It's about to end in the next 24 hours. All of the subscriptions, they are available at a 50% discount. Same is the case with the mentorship program. Also, the mentorship program, it's available at a 50% discount. It's a really good opportunity. I usually never ever promote my subscriptions, the premium subscriptions, during these live streams. But in my opinion, it's a great opportunity for you guys. Make use of it. Make sure to enter the Discord server. Make sure to even if you're not following the calls, you can simply just join the Discord server to keep an eye on the analysis, to keep an eye on the market updates and everything, because a huge amount of tons of information is being shared in the Discord server. Now it's time to announce the giveaway winners also. So who would like to join the Discord server for a free 1 month subscription? Cannot, but this time better you grant me a membership this time. Okay, okay. 07 Sherlock, I'm granting you 07 Sherlock, Johan 07 Sherlock, he is the winner of the monthly subscription. Make sure to open a support ticket. Make sure to show the name of your channel. I would just take a screenshot of your username also. Just open up a support ticket and we would give you the free subscription. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining in. Take care and have a great week ahead. Thank you. Congratulations, man. Congratulations, 07 Sherlock. Bro, I have been active since forever. Don't worry, you can actually buy the subscription through Black Friday sale also, by the way, guys. It's only at $30. I mean, it's not a huge amount. So, 24 hours, and this sale is about 20 to 24 hours. So please make sure to make use of this. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Take care. Have a great week ahead. Make sure to like the live stream.